Okay, hi everyone. I hope someone joins us today and lets me know if they can hear me okay, because otherwise I don't know. I'm doing this by myself today. It's my intent to bring you some live stream, some Q&As from the studio. So I need a little help out there. So let me know if you guys can hear me okay. So far no one's on, so I'll wait until we get a couple people to watch. I'm just hanging out in the studio today, and I have some support questions that I thought I would try to answer for people. And you can shoot me your questions too. Okay, thanks for joining me in the studio today. I'm really, it's definitely my intent to bring you guys some just, impromptu stuff from the studio. So if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. So I'm playing a little game with my support team to try to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of February. So please tell your friends so that I can win the bet. And thumbs up, and also click the bell icon for notifications. And of course, visit pastelpaintinglessons.com for full lessons. So I have to run through everything that I'm supposed to here. Also, I'm releasing a new online workshop, which is really different from the lessons. It's going to have it's done, so it's ready to be released, and we're going to be showing it off in the next few days. So it has 5 assignments. They're like real assignments with kind of deadlines, and it has over 5 hours of video content, video demonstrations, and then at the end of it you'll be able to participate in a live critique session, which is really cool. So you'll get to see what everybody else is doing, and I won't be able to critique everyone, but I'll be able to critique a lot, and it'll be really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. We still have available the 2 lesson libraries, and you can also be a member, Friends of PPL, we call it, pastelpaintinglessons.com. And when you're a friend of PPL, you get everything, access to all the content that I do, and some critiques and everything. So that's pretty cool. So there's all of that. So I thought today I would just answer some questions, and you guys can also chime in and ask questions too. I have my computer here, so I can answer. So the number one question that I always get is, what pastels do I use? And the answer to that is kind of complicated. I use a lot of different brands. I'm really a big fan of Unison pastels. I really like their texture. They're just a teeny bit gritty when they go down, just a teeny bit, and they're kind of not too soft and not too hard. I feel like the Senneliers, the full sticks, are just too soft, and then on the sanded paper they just crumble, and they're really expensive. So I tend not to buy those in individual sticks. But every now and then I do. I just love the colors. So I'm teaching at Dakota Pastel in May, and so I get to go to the pastel candy store and spend all my workshop fees probably, and I'll buy a lot of different brands. There I will buy some individual Sennelier. I'll buy some Schmenke. Somebody asked me the other day on a YouTube video, I didn't mention Schmenke when I was talking about what pastels to buy. And in that video, I'm really talking about getting a kind of a starter set going. Well, not exactly starter because it's still really expensive. But so you can't buy everything, right? So you got to start somewhere. So my main palette here is comprised right now anyway, primarily of Unison. I have Terry Ludwig. I like Mount Vision a lot. In there are new pastels, which I'm a big fan of new pastels. Not every pastelist is, and that is primarily because there's a thought that it is they're fugitive. Yeah, you know, maybe some of the colors maybe are, but you know, again, I figure, well, maybe my work will be out there in 100 years. I don't know, but right now, I really like that I like them for underpainting, and then for some overpainting techniques, some using line and some scratchy techniques. So each brand has its own qualities that you can employ differently. And in the plugging my new workshop, in the new workshop, it's called Making Your Mark, and it's really about finding your own unique voice with mark making. It's one of the things that distinguishes us, how we put the marks down. It distinguishes us from other artists, other pastelists. And so really getting a lot of mileage and a handle on what each of the brands will do and what they will do on the different papers. It's you know, it's pretty infinite variety. So it entails, it requires a lot of mileage and some degree of discipline in figuring out, you know, what's what. And I also really like Giroux, so they're beautiful pastels too. Okay, so that kind of covers that. Fixative. People ask me all the time, do you fix your work? And yes, I do fix the pastels at the very end when I'm completely done. I don't tend to fix in between in layers because I don't find that I need to. When you're using really good paper and really good pastels, I don't really find that I need to, because when I'm working thin to thick. That's kind of basically what I'm doing. So I don't usually need to fix in between, but sometimes. But I do spray at the end. And this is the fixative that I use. I do have a YouTube video that demonstrates how I use this fixative, and so it's fairly particular way that I use it. I used to use the Lascaux fixative. Now Lascaux is a wonderful spray. It's beautiful. It has a nice even spray. It tends not to alter the values and the colors very much. But when I first began painting in pastel, a can of Lascaux fixative was about $11, and over the years up, and so now I think it's almost $30 a can, which is kind of ridiculous, because if you're doing a show of pastels, for instance, and maybe some of them are big, start running through a bunch of these cans. So I started investigating other alternatives, and really, again, using kind of a fairly disciplined approach, tested things out. So this fixative, it's the Krylon, it's the fine art fixative. Don't buy the workable fix. Get this. It has a pretty good fine spray. You can also use the entire can without it starting to spit and get nasty, because if you pay, because I think this is about $11 a can. If you paid $11 but you can only use half the can because it starts acting up on you, then it's $22 a can. So it's I think it's pretty good, and it really doesn't alter it. I mean, they all alter the values a bit, but I think that it's worth it for me because I'm still framing most of my landscapes anyway with a mat. I use a spacer, but I use very nice 8-ply mats, and you get a nasty marks on the mats if you don't use fixative, especially if you're using pastels like Terry Ludwig's with lots of darks, and using a white mat. So anyway, so I have to fix them. Is everybody hearing me okay? Can someone tell me if they're hearing? Okay, go good. Yay. hear you fine, but you're out of sync. There are two conversations going at the same time. Let me see. So let me see if I can fix that. Okay. I'm going to go to this other program to see if I can fix the... Gotta put that back on. Okay, so there's the audio. See, I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna get this down so that it's smooth for everyone. Okay, now you must be able to hear me now, but let's see. Lost sound, frozen for me. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try one more thing on the audio. Advanced audio settings. Okay, let's try that, you guys. How's that? Is that better? Can someone let me know if you can hear me? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. My mic says that that you can hear me. Have sound, but still out of sync. Yes, I can hear, but out of sync. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to have to work on the syncing thing. Do you still hear, do you guys hear 2? Oh, James says it's good now. Stereo sound. Quite happy to be out of sync, but it's stereo now. Okay, I can hear you. But you don't hear two conversations going on? If I'm out of sync a little bit, that's okay, but you can hear me. Echo as well is good. Still out of sync. All right, well, I'm gonna have to work on it, you guys. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so yes. So I use this spray. And like I said, there is a YouTube video that you can watch that shows, I demonstrate exactly how I do it, because I think there's a few little nuances to it that I think are pretty important. Okay, then another question I get all the time is, do you paint in plein air? Yes, I paint in plein air, but I also live in Portland, Oregon. So plein air, and I'm a little bit of a cold wimp. So I'm a fair weather plein air painter, and I love my studio. So I do paint outdoors when I can. There's some great spots right near my house, and so I love that. And I have a couple different setups. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit of a secret. The secret is that when I'm painting in plein air, oops. Let's see. When I'm painting in plein air, I like to paint in oil. So I'm going to show you my oil rig. Okay, so here is my oil rig. Oh, what's it got in here? That's weird. Why is it? big piece of, okay, so this is, I gotta clean it. I should have checked before I showed it to you guys, but, so this is what I use. This is Artwork Essentials, and I like this little setup, and it's got a little thing for the tripod on the bottom, and I just think that it's super nice. And what I did was I had a piece of glass cut for this, and because it's just wood when you buy it, and I painted the back side of the piece of glass with a middle gray, and then I just got some silicone and I put the silicone and so it's in here permanently. And so this works out really nice. It's really still really lightweight, and I like this a lot. So when I'm painting outdoors, I usually paint in oil. So there's that. Okay, so next question that I get all the time. Oh wait, first, is my studio a garage? Yes, my studio is a garage, but it's a pimped out garage. It's a separate, I have a main garage attached to the house. This is an outbuilding. It's separate from the house. And when I got the house about 2 years ago, I was like, wow, this is perfect. It already had a separate entrance and a couple windows. And I put a French door in it and a patio outside. I put track lighting, which is really obviously super important. I put a heater, and it's a really powerful heater, because if I'm not comfortable, if I'm not warm, and like I said, I get cold really easily. If I'm not warm, I'm simply not going to paint. So I have invested in the studio, and this is my living. You guys probably know that. So I feel like if I'm not comfortable in the space, I'm not going to get out here. I'm going to make lots of excuses not to be painting, and I'm going to hole up in my house. So I've made this little space. It's a garage. So what is that? About 350 square feet, something like that. I have thought about closing off the garage part and making it more of a room, but the garage door that I have has windows, and in the summertime, my goodness, it's so great. I open up the door, and it's amazing. Let the light come in, and it's great. It's got a little air conditioning unit because it does get hot in the summer. And what else about it? I put carpet down so I'm comfortable, and it's just a really cozy little space. When I first moved in, whenever you move your studio space, it can be, well, am I going to be comfortable? Am I going to be creative in it? Is it going to feel right? And you just make it feel right. You just keep working on it. Mine is a work in progress, and it's also a set now because we film all the time. So there's that. So we're always juggling this and that and moving around the easels and moving stuff around. But it's okay, it's fine. So yes, it's a garage. You just make do with whatever you have. If you've got a little corner of your kitchen, you make that work too. All right, so another big question I get is, what music do you listen to when you're painting? And you guys probably see me with if you're watching any of my quick little videos on YouTube, you notice that I'm wearing headphones. And a lot of times, I got a question the other day, a lady, so cute, she says, I really love your videos, but could you turn your music down? Because sometimes when we're editing, or I'm editing, if I'm doing it, I'm kind of doing it, the editing down and dirty, and I often don't pay enough attention to the audio. Can you tell I'm not good with the audio? Yeah, Paul, it is all tax deductible. Yeah, I'm just reading your comment. Yeah, so I listen to music pretty loud when I'm painting and with my headphones on. I know I shouldn't, and I know it's not good for me, but I've always done it, and it's one of those things that just kind of helps me in my process. The music that you hear, if I've added music to the videos, is not the music that I'm listening to. And so this is what this lady was referring to, that my headphone music was leaking out into the video. And I typically like to listen to really pretty repetitive. I like African beats. I think I was in this video that she was talking about, I was listening to Rafiki Sidewalk Mix, and so kind of Afro beat stuff I like a lot. I use Pandora and Spotify to help me find new music. I'm always looking for something new to get me rolling and have fun. I have a friend who is a jazz musician, and he is always trying to get me to listen to new stuff and be more discriminating about it, and to be more appreciative of different kinds of music, and to really hear it, because sometimes I feel like I don't hear it. And so I think that's super, super interesting, because one of the questions I got the other day, which I think was very related to that, was a lady wrote, she was talking about the lesson. She says, how do I paint a color that I can't see? I don't understand how I can do that. And I really think it's just exactly like the music. You have to listen and learn to be discriminating and to hear the nuances in the music, and the same thing with color. We have to train ourselves to see through artists' eyes, and to see, because we are actually seeing things differently than other people are seeing them. There's a lot about visual perception, if you read the science in it, that most of the time when we're just out in the field of vision, our brain is filling in so much of it, like a big percentage of it. And when we're seeing through the artist eye, I think we are actually seeing more of what's kind of really there, and then we have to interpret that and sort of re-abstract it in a two-dimensional form. But we have to first learn to see those nuances and study that. And then I think that we have to also, once we can do that, we learn to paint via the foundation being value. And then once we get a handle on that, then you can start to push color. Push it, nudge it here and there. Oh, I think I see some of that, so I'm going to take that and put that in and push it a little bit. Oftentimes when we think we're going too far, we actually haven't gone far enough. We haven't really put as much, say, red as that is really appearing there, because color is bouncing around into reflected light, into shadow, much more than we sometimes express in the work. So start pushing color, and then from pushing color, then the next adventure is inventing it, and that's just then you can really start to have fun and really play around, and then you can start with the idea from there is to invent the specific lighting situations, times of day, backlighting, side lighting, all kinds of different opportunities once you get there. But all of that, it's just back to the same thing with the first question about what pastels do I use, is that mileage. You have to get a lot of mileage in to, you know, to get there. I'm sorry, it's kind of the way it is, but it is, that's the facts, ma'am, I think. Yeah, so I think that's the case. Mileage, mileage, mileage. And I know that's not like good news for people that are just starting out. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like, oh, maybe you can't ever get there. But the good thing about painting is the getting there is really what it's all about. Because you don't get there. You don't get, you know, I've never painted a perfect painting. And I never will either. I haven't never even actually seen one. So I don't think about it that way. I just think about what can I do to learn and get better and to make better paintings. So that's what really all I'm ever trying to do. Let's see. So that's all I had in the questions that I had. You guys are not asking questions. So if you have any other questions, let me know. That's all I had on questions, but I do have a couple of things that I wanted to start running by people, and I plan on opening up this studio and having guest artists come in and do some lessons and do some live streams with me. I think it would just be really, really fun and just really open things up quite a bit. So I want to partner with some artists, and I have in mind some people that are local to me that are just really great. I've been in contact with an oil painter named Eric Jacobson, Jacobson with an S-E-N. He's so good. Oh my goodness, he's so loose and free. He's such a good painter. So I'm kind of in talks with him to get him to come from Central Oregon and come and paint with me and do a lesson. And also, there's a pastelist, Jacob Aguiar. He's from Cape Cod area. I'm talking to him too. He's a young guy. Him and his wife are just now expecting a baby, and he's really busy, but I'm trying to get him to do a lesson. But I'm going out east later this year, so maybe I'll get out there and be in the room with him. And then, of course, there's Stan the Man Spurlack, and I'd love to get him, and Tony Elaine, and a bunch of my buddies from the IAPS organization, Kim Lordier. Ramona Youngquist is a painter that's local here that I'd love to get in the studio. Barbara Janicki is in Central Oregon. She's an amazing pastelist. So anybody that you guys can think of, just shoot me a comment that somebody that you would really love to see have more presence. Some of these people are amazing painters, but they don't have a big presence on YouTube or on video, and so God, it's just a neat opportunity to get together with people. So Candace asks, can you comment on organizing your pastels, Maggie, price, value, and temperature versus hue value? I do my box a little bit differently than Maggie did. I keep my hues separate. Maggie just did it by value, and she mixed it all together so then she could, you know, play. And I like to have, I have my box, my tray, and any box that I travel with or plein air paint with by hue, value, and saturation, you know, roughly. I like to have that organizational piece. Temperature is embedded in hue, so that kind of takes care of that. I just think of color with the three aspects: hue, value, and saturation. Saturation also, you know, synonymous with intensity and chroma. So that's, you know, that's what I do. I think organizing your box is a big deal. Once I put a little bit more discipline and organization into my tray, I think I became a much better painter. Yes, I agree with you, Doug. Kim Lordier would be great to have. She's super nice and super cute, and she's great, and she's an amazing painter, and she's fun. So I think she'd be really great to have to get with. So I'm not sure where she lives. I think maybe in the West. But yeah, so that's about all I've got going today. So just remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tell your friends. And remember to visit pastelpaintinglessons.com and look for our new workshop, Making Your Mark. It should be ready in the next couple of days, actually. And it's pretty exciting. I really like the format. I think it's going to be a lot more interactive than just the lesson. So that's about it, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And I will be trying to do this again really soon. And I'm going to try to get this audio. I'm going to try to watch what I did here so that I can get it down right from the get-go next time. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Have a good rest of your weekend.